Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well as ever. We've got a Black Series review for you today and we're going to take a look at the Clone Commander Gree from the Black Series line. So we're going to jump into it. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new here. As always, you don't want to miss the content to come. Leave a like on the video if you enjoy it. It does help me out, and we're going to jump into it. So first of all, as ever, what's in the box? So you are going to get the standard clone blaster. This time it's in a kind of gunmetal grey. It is sculpted in the same shape, so it's the same sculpt, just printed in that plastic grey colour. It's not printed and then painted, so you know, it's pretty basic. And to be honest, unfortunately, with this grey look, this kind of grey look can make things look a little bit simple. Although, to be honest, with this blaster, with the shapes and stuff going on, it does look actually more. It kind of looks more dynamic than the black version, but it is the exact same blaster. Again, with the heavy blaster that we get with Gree, it's the same blaster as the heavy that you get with other clones like the Phase 1 ones, but this is again printed in this grey. I think that it looks worse printed in this grey than it does in the black, whereas with the with the other one, I think it looks better in this grey than it does than in black. So you know, it's you got to take it with some salt and look at it like that. Obviously, they've tried to match the grey with Gree because he has that kind of green and grey kind of paint scheme going on, but it's just nice to have extra weapons, so not too bad there. One of the best things I like about Gree though is that he does come with another accessory, which is the binoculars that we see him use in Revenge of the Sith on Kashyyyk when he's there with Yoda, and we'll get onto that and talking about that scene soon. But yeah, this is really good. He can hold it up to his helmet as well, which is nice. But it's really nice just to get a different and a new, a different accessory, because it means that, you know, we could use that with other troopers or other figures. So it's nice to have these accessories in the Black Series line that are transferable to other characters, but it's nice to see him come with that stuff. He doesn't come with anything else. This antenna on his kind of the communication backpack he has, I do think it will pop out, but I'm not going to try it just in case. But it does look like it comes out. And I've seen people that don't have theirs on their figure, so either they took it out, you know, and it's purposely meant to, or they just ripped theirs out. But in terms of the design of Gree, you can see he looks awesome. I mean, the camo and stuff like that, I really like the camo look. The Kashyyyk troopers, I wish we'd have seen more scenes of them up close to see what's going on there, because it looked like an epic battle, but we only see like a few clips of it. You know, looking at his Phase 2 helmet there, he looks fantastic. I was watching Clone Wars the other day, you know, some older episodes reminiscing, and seeing Gree in his Phase 1, he doesn't look anywhere near as cool as he does here. So you can see the kind of green tint of the visor. I like that. Then you got the helmet. The helmet is actually underwhelming when you look at the rest of the figure, because his paint scheme throughout is just that good. It's so cool. I mean, first of all, I mean, when you look at the pauldrons, you've got the colour carbon scoring, paint chipping, silver going on, which is really nice. You've got the kind of the dents and stuff like that. You've got the weathering throughout, this kind of army green on these armour pieces. Then when you move down to like the belt has got that kind of again, that kind of commando green with some brown weathering in it, which is nice. He's got the greys going on. You know, on the chest plate, he's got the green kind of paint chipping and the silver weathering of like the paint chipping and the carbon scoring, which is really nice again. So he looks awesome. When you look at the the traditional kind of Earth planet or forest planet or whatever kind of camo, he does look really cool, and obviously that's very fitting for Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk is essentially like Earth on steroids. It's like everything is 20 times the size, like the trees are like the size of skyscrapers and stuff, which is cool. On the back again, he's got some really nice details going on with the paint scheme. In terms of the likeness, I think they've nailed Gree. I think he's got some awesome presence. He'd definitely look kick-ass on the shelf. And I'm looking forward to using him in some toy photography because he's got a really cool look going on. In terms of the back pieces there, you can see he's got, you've got some accessories. And again, some weathering on like the back communications pack and the kind of modules on his belt and stuff like that. It looks so cool, and I mean, like, you can see here, like, that's not just the camo print, that's the camo print and then weathering on the top, so he looks fantastic. Yeah, the paint applications on mine at least are very, very good, so can't complain at all. Looks awesome. Gree is he's an awesome looking figure, and in terms of articulation, he's fair, but he leaves a lot to be desired. He is an older build, so we can leave a lot of it down to that. But I mean, when you look at Gree, you think he looks awesome. He does have quite an unnaturally kind of stiff pose as his base pose. He's quite a stiff character in general in this line. As action figures go, some are stiff out the box, some are normal out the box, some are very loose out the box. He's a stiffer figure for sure. In terms of at the feet, when we move to articulation, you can see here, so interesting, and I mentioned it in both my Wolf videos and this video so far, and I've got Commander Bly coming in, so I'll take a look at that too. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on some more clones in the Black Series line. You can see on his ankles that he will toe point completely flat, but the ankle forces up under this part of the kind of the boot, and you can see the discoloration where it's having to bend, so it's not ideal. So he will completely bend if you want to go down that route, and obviously he's been in battles and war, so he's going to look weathered, so it's not too big a deal, but he will go completely flat as a toe point, which is good, but it will force that plastic to rise. In terms of a toe point, he's got a really good toe point, just like Wolf has. Again, I think it's kind of the design of this old clone boot. In the knees, the pad is centered again, which is really good. He's got the double joints in the knee so he can come back. He can rotate at the hips, so he can come all the way up to 90, come all the way back to 90. He's got a pretty good split, and like I say, with these kind of ball and sockets, you can rotate them to really open up and close angles, which is good, because although you don't have completely kind of up and down, left and right movement, the kind of circular range of motion that you get means that he does have a big range of motion, but he would be off center, kind of like this, but because you can kind of tilt his legs when he's down to and rotate here, because you can see he's got that thigh, if you can kind of see in here, get that into focus for you. He's got that thigh swivel, so he can do that. That means that he can look a lot more natural, which is good. Moving up to the torso, the lower torso is set, so his belt will move a little bit, which is loose, which is good, but his lower torso is set so he can move the top. He does bang into the belt a little bit, but he has got a decent little wiggle. He will rotate 360 as ever, but he's got a nice little crunch going on, which is good, and the fact that he's got a bit of a crunch anyway is much needed for him, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. In terms of the hands, he will spin 360 as normal, but you can see here that he will curl in as well, which is good because it means that he can get his hands up here and hold the binoculars to his helmet, and so he can look through them, which is good, and he can hold that as well, and his trigger finger is kind of like pointing as well, so you can use it as a gesturing kind of hand, which is good. So he can command. Being a clone commander isn't just about carrying a blaster, so that's cool. In terms of the elbow, we've got the double joints again. The pad is centered, which is cool. It does kind of get in the way, so he'll only get to 90, but 90 is fine. And he has a bicep swivel, and as we've talked about before, that gives you just a little bit more range of motion, because you won't just come up to a T pose, you can actually twist at the bicep, which is good. Again, with the pauldrons, they're harder kind of rubber, so they will force up over the top to a T pose, but you've got to kind of really push. So you know, don't be alarmed if it's a little bit of a struggle. In terms of the head, now this is where he falls down, unfortunately. Depends how you look at it, of course. So this is the older build, so it's ball and socket under there. It's no head sculpt or anything. You can see there's no gap. You can't see a gap. Unfortunately, he literally forward and back, that's all he gets. I can get that into focus for you. Forward and back, that's all he gets. He'll twist 360 at a push, like if you really push, but he again gets kind of stuck. So not even 360 really, but if I kind of pop his head off and show you, you can see that it's the ball and socket, and you can see here that it only has the ability to go forward and back. And you can see that basically what the issue is that the peg has to go too deep before he can actually swivel, so that means that he can't tilt the head, and there's no sideways tilt anyway, so not ideal. However, obviously talking about famous scenes with Gree, you know, we know that Grand Admiral Thrawn has his helmet on display, you know, as a piece of war history, so you can use it as scenes like that and use it as just having the helmet off. You could always get a 3D printed head sculpt in there. You could also do obviously the famous scene where he tries to jump Yoda and Yoda just backflips and absolutely wrecks him. So you could do the body separated from the helmet and stuff like that. So you can look at it in two ways. There's those possibilities, but it would have been nice if, to be honest, he had some better head articulation, because the head says a lot, especially from a toy photography standpoint. If you're not looking someone in the eyes or your head is off, it kind of ruins, it shatters the illusion. Perspective photography, you know, which toy photography is kind of based around and based in, it does kind of fall down if things don't look natural, or like, you know, human actions don't look natural, or any creature doesn't look natural. It kind of shatters the illusion, because our human eye is trained to see these things and recognize, are they a real threat or not. So that's unfortunate. In terms of versatility, like I say, he's a clone. He's an awesome looking clone commander, so you can use him in all sorts of things. You could argue that he's limited by the fact that he's kind of more of the dirt planet, you know, Kashyyyk. Can't see him everywhere, but again, he's a clone commander. You can take liberties and put him anywhere you like. Again, you know, it's cool to have a variant of a clone. So obviously the original trilogy and the sequels aside, he's very versatile. In terms of presence on the shelf, again, he's not the most dynamic of posers, but he's got such a cool look. You could have him standing there with, you know, with the binoculars pointing, and he'd be awesome. So in terms of an overall score, I think Gree looks awesome. I love the design. I just think that the articulation leaves too much to be wanted, so he's going to get a 7 from me. I do think you should pick him up though. I think I'm jumping on these clones while I still can, because these variants of clones, they are so cool. And I'd like to, when I have a good bunch of like the commanders, be able to do some like squad shots of, you know, the commanders kicking ass together. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and I hope it was informative. Do leave a like, as always, if you enjoy it. It does help me out. And subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow, so I need your help, of course, and I do appreciate it. So I'm going to leave you with this one as ever, guys. Take care, and I'm going to see you in the next one.